Headlines burning, chaos on the feed. Woke mob shouting what we're allowed to read. Aliens landing while the pundits cry. Hollywood melting while the markets fly. Anthony! The Conqueror!
Hey everyone, it's been a while, it's been a good few weeks. There was Easter, kids were off school, work commitments, but I'm back and I wanted to touch on something that I talked about before in one of my videos about Ark Raiders. It's a bit of a personal passion of mine, the game I mean. So I thought I'll touch on something that's happened recently in the past few weeks. There's been an update to the game. And if you're somebody that's new to the game and you want to know a bit more, please watch this video, like and subscribe as always. And also, if you're someone that's been playing it for a while, but you find that maybe your opinion on the current status of the game might be isolated, then this might back up your thoughts or contradict your thoughts, or go against it, whatever it may be. So let's have a look at this video. I found this video. It's from a smaller YouTuber. I prefer to go for those for various reasons, but also because when you see game reviews, game updates, videos about games, it's always usually big streamers, and a lot of the time they're endorsed by the company or sponsorships, so they kind of want to say what they want to say, but they don't. So I prefer to go for smaller YouTubers' opinions because these are people that are more likely to be casual gamers. So for me, their opinion carries a lot of weight, if anything more, because these are the backbone of any gaming community. So anyway, go ahead, like this. It's Luke Vanderhoof. He's made this video. I'm going to watch it now. It's the 3 reasons why everyone's leaving Ark Raiders. And just a small disclaimer, I don't hate Ark Raiders. I love Ark Raiders. I'm just a bit concerned about the way it's been going recently, and that's why I wanted to do this video. And hopefully, if you're an Ark Raiders fan, you might agree with me, disagree. Like I said, this is not a hate video. It's to understand why things have changed. They have definitely changed. Me personally, I'll cover them throughout the video, but I've noticed some changes, mostly for the worse, a few improvements, but mostly for the worse. So let's have a look and yeah, let's see what he has to say. Maybe it's the same thoughts as myself and yours.
Today, we are discussing the 3 main reasons why we are down 80% of the player base in less than half a year. Reason 1, the near pointless endgame grind. If you take a look at all the things you need to do to get to the endgame stages of Ark Raiders, you have a majorly fun game with decent quests and goals to keep your blood pumping. But once people have upgraded all their benches, finished all the side quests, and gotten all the blueprints, your game starts to feel stagnated. Any player who has gotten to this point probably has felt this way at least once, not knowing what they should do next. There isn't really an endgame goal besides the expedition, which I've already talked about in another video. But even after you finished all the requirements for the expedition, what are you meant to do while you wait? Every time you do an expedition, the requirements feel easier and easier to get as you get used to the spawn locations of everything. Then what? Well, some players try to get tons and tons of maxed out high tier weapons, while others try PvP on Salamantes, while even more fight big Ark enemies. But these people don't really have a goal set up by the game. They have to set their own goal because there's nothing left for them to do. It's like how, with some open world games, once you're done with everything, you're either waiting for the next minor update or quitting the game because you feel like you're just messing around. In the last few months, people have been leaving in droves. Popular streamers and YouTubers are quitting the game because there isn't endgame goals or content to really talk about. Now
But before he proceeds, he's absolutely correct, and take it with a pinch of salt why the streamers leave, because they always want to stay on what's hot, what's got the most players. I know some of the streamers definitely enjoy the game, and some of them were just doing it for trending purposes. But yeah, it's the no end game thing. See, this is where I'm different because I've played predominantly single player games. I've done multiplayer, but single player, and I do a lot of open world games. I'm quite happy to grind, form my own targets, my own little side quest projects. For example, in Fallout 4, I loved building the settlements. There's hundreds of hours worth of content to do that. But here they are absolutely correct, or Luke is absolutely correct. There is no end game content. If you're someone that is purely target driven, you want to be the best, you want the best loot, you're going to get bored quick. Now, for myself, I'm a casual player, so I do a bit of the trials, I do some of the projects, and I do it at a very slow pace. Sometimes I log in every few days, or I did. So I've stopped for the past week or so. But every time I would log in, I'm quite OCD. I'm happy to go and loot so I can then repair weapons and things like that. So I always find something to do. But yes, I think they've been too slow with the updates and the content that a lot of people have got bored and gone elsewhere, especially with the release of some other games that have come out like Marathon and even single player games like Crimson Desert, which is taken over by Storm. And the amount of content that people can do there, and that's not even an online game. So, he's absolutely correct, and that's not a good thing.
Just hit 250 subscribers a few days ago.
Yep,
Thank
go
you
ahead,
all
do your
so
thing.
much for the support. It means so much to me. Our next goal is 500 subscribers, and I'd like to hit that by the coming expedition May 11th. If we reach this goal, I'll be giving away all my blueprints, but you'll have to watch the end of the video to see more. Reason 2. Updates that don't affect real issues. Since
Oh, before he proceeds, absolutely about the expedition, how ridiculous that is. So an expedition is, if you don't know, is just like a reset. It's like a season reset. Everyone starts, but in this they made it optional, which is good. I've not done the expeditions because I didn't play enough hours to fill up the required resources and money. I'm a very casual player. That's why you take my opinion as opinion only. But with the expedition for the previous ones, you had to build up a certain amount of money, build up a certain amount of resources to submit, and then you could go through, reset, and you gain a few small advantages. And the idea is to stack it, so each couple of months or every time there's an expedition, 3 months or so, you can just build up slowly. So the idea is over the coming years you become top tier. The issue this time was I started saving up and I got a couple million. I got to the point where I had a couple million in dollars worth of value. I did the resources. I was ready for the expedition just for them to turn around and say, we're changing it this time. It's going to be damage based. So within the space of 10 days or so, you've got to get X amount of damage to qualify. Well, that's fun. I like that idea. But you're telling us like a week before the update that was going to be the case. I had saved up everything and I had sold all of my weapons I didn't need, legendary weapons, modded up. I shrunk down to an arsenal that I could happily maintain and play with until the expedition window is open. But then they changed it, and I'd already sold all my weapons, which I need the weapons to do this bloody expedition now to get all the damage. Because another side effect is, since the majority of people that have left are mostly PvE, we can see that. So there's a lot of PvP players, a lot of rats. No, they're not the same thing. So let's get that clear. And they're killing a lot more people like myself and taking what you've got. So I have not got the resources anymore to keep up an arsenal of guns. I've had to kind of downgrade my approach, but I've got a load of money sitting there, which is pointless now. So yeah, fantastic, great management of that.
the game launched, there has been 6 major named content updates and only 26 patches. Within those updates and patches, more issues have arrived. PvE players have found many different ways to defeat the Ark easier. Embark's solution to this was to make wolf packs harder to make, and Photoelectric Cloak 400% weaker, and slightly buffing the Bettina for diversity, I guess? These changes only make it more difficult to get and use the items we already have.
If you keep making things too challenging's good. But if you make it too challenging, then the fun, it's like a balancing scale. You have to balance it out. You know, you want it to be challenging but fun and engaging at the same time. Problem is they're focusing on the wrong areas. They've changed the durability of weapons on the new on the new update, so 75% now. So you literally play a round or two, and you have to keep repairing your weapons, which is a nightmare. So if you make it too challenging, that's not a good thing.
And now for PvP players, almost nothing has changed. They keep making small fixes to the Trigger Nade, which is still the strongest PvP item in the game, And they added new weapons like the Cantu, but the blueprint is so difficult to farm, and it's so similar to the Stitcher and Bobcat that nobody wants to get it anyways. And lastly, for those that love to grind the trials, once you get to Hotshot, it's almost hard to go down the ranks. I think this last cycle I've put in 4 hours into trials and kept my Hotshot rank. The most recent update they had trying to fix it was to make the goals more enjoyable. That doesn't even get close to fixing the core issues. And no, I'm not going to say it didn't make it any better, but it definitely didn't change much in progress to the system at all. All these updates try to make the game better, but end up creating other problems that people don't want to put up with. A lot of people don't want to play a game that doesn't have updates that are for the raiders. Now, the third reason we have on our list are rats. A decent percentage of people.
Before I go on to that, this is the reason I personally left. We're going to definitely touch into that. But yeah, the content's not been fantastic. We've had just to touch on the new update, the Riventides map. A lot of speculation was building up to it. I don't think it's a bad map. I've done 4 or 5 rounds in it. It's okay. It's smaller. It's condensed a bit more. So that's good for some aspects. It is totally overloaded with Arc, but hey, I can't complain. I did say I want a PvE mode only with intense Arc activity, so I can't complain about that. But it's just like a third of the map is shoreline going north, and there's no water, even though it's meant to be a beach. Because it's apocalyptic, but it's a very bright map, probably a bit too bright. You can't see things properly. The Arc is probably way overboard. Like, we asked for it to be more intense, but not to this point. It just feels a bit lackluster, a bit anticlimactic. I was expecting a map a bit bigger, more of a seafront to it, so perhaps there'd be like old nightclubs and bars, as well as an industrial sector, like the shipping container area. But I just expected a bit more. I expected, and he might touch on it, they brought the new enemy out called the Turbine. Now, there was a developer, high up management at Embark, who only said like a week or two before that this new flying arc was going to be large. It was going to be like a landmass approaching from the horizon or something like that. Frigate was mentioned, if you know Navy terms. Trust me, when it came out, it just looks like a flying butt plug, if I'm being grotesque about it. Genuinely. It's not that intimidating. I played 4 or 5 rounds, and I did not, and one of them was an event, the Beachcomber event, and I didn't see it once. So I know people have seen it, but I also heard of another a streamer, gamer, he played something like 4 or 5 hours before he saw any turbine. He only saw it once. So yeah, it's not great. The weapons, we're expecting some new good weapons, and we talked about it before or in previous videos that the new weapons are nothing fancy, only good for certain things like PvP, especially the shotgun style one. Can't remember its name, the Labra or something. But yeah, it's been all a bit anticlimactic and all a bit slow, and I think a lot of it changed when I think it was the CEO or one of the directors at Embark left, so perhaps some of the vision went with him.
People joining the game were hoping for something more like Helldivers or Destiny, where it was just PvE with your buddies. Some people decide not to play because of the possible player kill environment, but those who decide to play would usually end up in PvE lobbies anyways. PvE lobbies are generally stacked with raiders carrying lots of goodies to defeat the Ark, which is the perfect nesting ground for rats. Rats are raiders who infest PvE lobbies trying to get the goop that the unknowing friendly raider brings in. There are 2 types of these vermin. The first type will be hiding in dark locations, bushes, and other sneaky places typically near the extract. Usually, they play on matriarch and queen map conditions to get some extra juicy loot. The other pretend they are friendly raiders until you turn your back, and that's when they strike. These rats have been infesting lobbies pretty much since day one. For the people that only want to fight Ark, it's incredibly frustrating to die to someone they weren't expecting. It would still be annoying, but make more sense if you see them in mixed or PvP lobbies, but for those who only enjoy fighting the Ark, it brings a sense of fear that is now ingrained in PvE players.
This is the thing. People have talked about the fear. That's what makes it exciting. Sometimes it's too extreme though, because it depends on your character. Some people thrive off fear. Some people subjugate to it. Me personally, I don't play games for stress and fear factor. I used to. That's why I don't understand PvP in this game. I'm not against PvP. So to make that clear, a lot of people that want PvE, they're anti-PvP. That's not the case for me. I'm pro PvP. But if I want to play PvP, I'm likely to go and play Battlefield, Battlefront, Star Wars, Call of Duty, because I've said it in my previous video. You play in that, you spawn, you shoot, you get shot, you die, you respawn 10 seconds later at a different location on the map. You rinse, repeat. Also, when you're dying in those games, you're not losing anything valuable. Um, you're not losing a gun that you've saved up for or been using for hours and hours, a legendary weapon. It doesn't work like that. So in this, and yes, it's an extraction shooter and it's not the first of its type, the problem is when you get ratted, like I've said before, you might be doing 20-25 minutes of loot and you found something you really need. Your safe pockets are not enough to get everything you need. You've spent 10 minutes before that just fixing out your loadout, modding up your weapons, repairing it, playing the game like an RPG to a point, and playing it probably the way it was designed to be played. And then you jump in, do your looting, you get to extraction, someone shoots you, takes all your stuff. And then you call out for a PvE, and the usual haters against that say you've got a skill issue. Well, yes, I do have a skill issue. I don't play this enough to be challenging on leaderboards. There are no leaderboards. That's another thing. There's no factions at the moment. There's no leaderboards. You do PvP in this. It's basically just because you're a. I'm not going to say something derogatory, unless say if you're a rat. If you're a rat in this, you're a dick because you don't gain anything. You're just shortcutting doing the loot and the grinding yourself to take other people's things, and that's just wrong. It's unethical. PvPers, I've got shot a few times by PvPers, but you see them as you come. They fight you in the open. You've got a bit of a chance. You know where you stand. That's fine. But the rats, and it's how do you fix that problem? Well, it's a hard one. You can't monitor it. People are allowed to hide in the shadows. It's part of the game, I guess. But just put a PvE only mode, man. People are crying out for it. People have dropped. A large number of those that have dropped and left the game uninstalled. I've seen comments left, right, and centre. If you do PvE mode, I will come back. I'm one of those people. I've stopped a week, maybe just over. I played after the update, and I would say out of 10 rounds I played, I got ratted 7 or 8 times. And it's just annoying. It's frustrating, especially when you've got a small arsenal because of their recent expedition decisions and requirements. So you're trying, you're giving it benefit of doubt, and it's just every time you log in, there's just some random guy walks past you, starts shooting the hell out of you, or duos, trios, and it's not rewarding. And yes, it does add stress and intensity. You're looting, who's that coming around the corner? But you should be able to turn that on and off. There's more than enough market in this game to have a PvE only mode. I would say have a PvE only mode, a PvP only mode on certain maps, perhaps, and how it currently is, because some people are more than happy to not change anything, so they can stay with things. I want to do PvE because I just like to chill, meet new people, fight Ark. That's my thing. Some people purely like to just shoot other players and a bit of Ark. That's fine. They're absolutely right. They bought the game too. They should be able to do that. Um, or if you're not willing to do separate servers, then introduce some sort of bounty system. So when someone rats someone or kills someone, there's an alert, there's a reward, money-wise, or certain loot, and you can hunt this person down, and they build up fame. Some people would love that. They'll think, yeah, I've become a villain. Fine, but let's know who you are, because this ratting is too out of control. It's hard to monitor. It's hard to police because of the way the game's set up. And I get that. There's nothing really Embark can do. But what you can do is do like damage limitation. Just separate the people to play the way they want to play. So yeah, that's my take on the rat situation. I could talk for hours about it, and it's the usual arguments come back. So skill issues, because you're not good at the game, you don't want to fight other people. It says PvP on there. Yeah, well they also said that the game was originally intended to be PvE, and if you're a real PvP player, you're not going to be playing this game. It's not designed. You can tell. PvP games are usually first person. This has got so many bugs when it comes to PvP action. People being able to shoot through walls or desyncing so that people are getting shot what appears through a wall, but actually it's because the server's slow. This game's not designed really to be PvP. It was added on late. You can clearly see that. So if you want to play PvP, just go and play an actual PvP orientated game. If you want to carry on doing PvP, fine. They should have their own server too.
These people only wanted to fight Ark, and now they're dying to these scumbags who only want to get a little extra loot because they're too bad at PvP to get it for themselves. This is not a fun experience and will never be a fun experience. These rats pushed our friendly allies out of the game for no reason.
They're gone because of
just
it.
to get loot they might not even use. PvE players don't want to deal with this anymore and are now leaving the game because of it. They don't want to play a game where people could kill you at any moment, and they just wanted to kill some Ark and be on their way.
Yep.
These are the three biggest reasons I've found people are leaving the game prematurely, and it could definitely be avoided if Embark made some fixes. If you left the game recently, let me know down in the comments below why you left the game and what could Embark do to make you come back. If we hit
I'll pause the video there. It's a great video, actually, what he's done. Well done, Luke. Go like and subscribe. He's obviously surpassed his 500, so fair play to him. So yeah, to conclude, I agree with all his points, especially the rats. And Embark is a strange one. They seem to listen to some people's opinions and fix certain bugs. That tends to be the streamers though that mention it and then they act. They're not really focusing on the casual gamers, hence why their numbers have dropped. These casual gamers tend to be PvEs as well, PvE players. So, and then they come out of some random decisions like durability of weapons, and when they bring out a new arc, it's usually just a rehash of a previous arc. We're not getting anything original. We're not getting any progression really on the lore. I know it's only been 6 months, but still, we don't know anything really about who the Ark are, who made them. Is there another enemy that we're not aware of? Is there something otherworldly? We know there was an exodus, but there's also evidence that there was spaceports built and things, so it was like a slow exodus, and then something went wrong. I want to know more about this, and there doesn't. Every time there's an update, they do little trailers which gives a bit more speculation, but it's like watching the movie Prometheus. It's a fantastic movie if you're into that, but it's one of those movies that leaves more questions than were answered. And this is a bit like Ark Raiders at the moment. It just seems like there's a bit of perhaps chaos in the management or the direction. You've probably got some developers that are pro PvE, some that are pro PvP. And this explains why the numbers are dropping, because people want to play a certain way. They should be given the option. Helldivers does it. The Division does it. Destiny did it. They understood that there's a market just for people that want to do PvE. There's a market for people that want to go around shooting each other. That's cool. So they applied it to. They made it open to whoever wanted to come, and that's why these games are still going years later. Perhaps with less numbers. Let's get it clear: Ark Raiders is not going to disappear overnight. It's got more than enough numbers at the moment to keep on going. That's not the point of this video. I'm not saying Ark Raiders is dead, but it's on a downward trajectory, clearly. And we know what the answer is, and surely they must know, but they seem very stubborn about it and no plans to do PvE only mode. So just go through videos on the internet, put comments down below if you played it and you left. Perhaps I'm wrong, disagree with me, absolutely. This is not a hate video. So anyway, thanks for your time. You all have an amazing rest of the day, week, and let me know your thoughts. And please like and subscribe. Take care.